Episode 238, the follow-along series with Sam Long. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. We'll hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in it for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pursuit of the Perfect Race. Today I'm continuing the follow-along series with professional triathlete Sam Long, and we're going to be talking about February this time. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks so much, Terry. As always, it's good to chat with you.
Hey man, so how you been, man?
Been really good. So February's taken on a totally new change. When I last spoke in January, the primary focus was skiing, getting mentally rejuvenated, having a fun time. Since then, starting about February 4th, the focus really came on building and doing a specific run block for this marathon I'm doing now in a week, as well as continuing to build the swim, bike, and strength.
Nice. I know you've been doing a lot of run on the treadmills, been following you on Instagram. How's your run coming along?
It's coming along amazing. It's actually the best I've ever ran, which gets me totally stoked since it's still only February. Yeah, we'll get into some of the sessions. Some of these sessions are gnarly, man.
Nice. So let's go ahead and dive into the fun stuff of the training. What's your swim, bike, and runs been like?
Yep. So I'd say I'll start with the bike. My overall bike volume's been relatively low, about 10 hours a week. And in February, I've moved into essentially a continuation of what was going on before, only a little bit more work. And so still a lot of like neuromuscular spin-ups, and then we've moved in some one leg work, and then we've moved into kind of pushing out some zone 3 stuff and getting up to threshold as well, and just really trying to build the strength on the bike, and keeping the long ride there. And then the swim's been just getting about that consistency. Obviously with skiing, I struggle with the consistency. There's often not pools, and then we've come back and tried to get in the pool 6 to 7 days a week. And I've also been working with a swim coach to kind of change my technique so it's more efficient. And then the run's been about 5 runs a week, two of them very solid, and then the rest of them just aerobic runs.
Wow. I know you were talking about you had a little bit of a shoulder injury with swimming.
Yeah. I don't know if injury is quite the right word. I had a little bit of a niggle, I'd say, because I swam, and it actually happened with my longest session swimming of the month. And then 2 days later, it was like my shoulder was really, really sore, and I actually couldn't lift my arm above my head. So I was like, oh, geez, this might be really bad. But I took just 2 days off, and then a third day I swam like 2K, and then the fourth K I swam 3,500 that day, and the next day I swam 4,500. So all in all, I missed about 8K of swimming. Not even. 7,000 yards of swimming. So really that's not terrible at all.
All right. So what was your longest swim set in February?
The longest swim set I did 5,500 yards. And I think that the issue was just, as I mentioned, I had been changing my stroke, and then this particular set involved almost the whole swim was hard. But it involved about 2,500 pulling with paddles, at a pretty vigorous pace. And I just think that strained it a little too much. I also honestly think I might have slept on it wrong too, and that also might have put it overboard because, like, again, I didn't feel anything one day after, and then I woke up 2 days after, and then it was like, whoa, holy cow, which normally, if it's that serious, you'd feel at least something like one day before.
Right. Man, so as far as your bike stuff goes, you said you're doing some spin-ups and zone 3 stuff. So for future reference, what we can kind of look at is what kind of zones are you using? Are you doing a 5-zone system, 7-zone system? What does this look like?
Yeah, I suppose I'd probably say it's on a 5-zone system. But really it's more like a 6-zone system, or even a 7-zone system. We only really talk about zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zone 5 being VO2. But then if I have like a sprint or something, say if it's like a 30-second sprint, he'll say like, my coach Ryan Bolton will say, go as hard as you can, basically. So at that point, we're not even thinking about power. It's just go as hard as you can. Or then if it's like 10-second, that would be more like your, right. Some books I know break it up into like 6A and 6B. So that would be kind of my 6A or 6B, but it's just at that effort, you go as hard as you can. Right. And so I'm maybe hitting, let's say my zone 7 or 6B, even though we just call it go as hard as you can, for that would be like less than 15 seconds or less. I'm getting up to about 900 watts for that consistently. And then for 30 seconds, we actually haven't been doing too much 30 seconds, but that would be more like 700 watts, I'd say.
Okay. So I know you got to run with a pretty nice marathoner there at, what was it, Raleigh?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Emma Coburn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to run with Emma Coburn. Raleigh's a cool facility, man. So yeah, well, she's actually a 3K steeplechase is her primary event. That I was running with her one day. And then actually I didn't, cause she had her headphones in. So I was sort of sneakily got that Instagram photo of her, which afterwards then she liked my mention. So I was like, okay, cool. She didn't think I was like a creepy dude, like stalking on her in the gym.
Did she follow you?
No follow.
Oh, man.
Yet, man. Which really sucks because she grew up in Crested Butte, and obviously I've spent a whole bunch of time in Crested Butte. So here we are, kind of these two elite athletes now living in Boulder, and we're basically I'm not really from Crested Butte, but I've spent a whole bunch of time there, and continue to go back. And sometimes we like see each other running on the roads out there, but maybe one day we'll make the connection. I just have to win a few things first. But I also tell you what's cool is maybe so that was last week. A week before that, I'm on the treadmill and I'm running, and Parker Stinson cruises up next to me. So he's a professional male marathoner. He's done 212 in the marathon. So I'm like, okay, good company.
Yeah. I mean, and you're over there clocking off hard miles and he's like beasting you. You're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going hard over here. Like I've come in second in a dang Ironman and you're just like beasting me. All right, well. So I know since earlier, what was it, like late last year, you started sharing everything on Strava. How has that been so far?
Yeah, it's been interesting. At times, I'm really not sure if people are engaging with it that much. And I'm even really trying to do a good job. Like I tell what the session is. I basically copy and paste my session from Training Peaks into it, and then I copy and paste what my result, like what I write in Training Peaks after. So I felt good. This and that happened. So I'm kind of surprised that I don't have more people catching on, because you're essentially getting a complete look at what I'm doing every single day. And I know there's some other pros that post on Strava, but it's pretty rare that they're giving you all the information. It's usually just you see their data and you sort of have to
look at the goal?
Data.
What was this supposed to be?
You have to look into it and try and decide what the session was. Did they follow it as prescribed? How did they feel? Was this a hard session? And I'm telling you everything. It's crazy. And I think there's a lot of closet Sam Long followers on Strava. I think people go and they look and they read all of it, and then they don't want to like it and they don't want to comment it. But then I run into them and they're like, oh yeah, I've been following what you've been doing on Strava and this and that and that. And I'm like, well, I haven't, because only 10 people are liking each workout. So it's pretty obvious, but I'm just going to keep it up I told everyone I'd keep it up till at least the end of this marathon, which is just next week. And then I'm going to have to make a decision. Cause it is on my end, it takes a fair amount of work to sort of write in all that information on Strava. And if I'm more than happy to do it, if people seem to be enjoying it, but if it's kind of worthless, then I'm not going to really bother, I suppose.
Well, I know you posted something on Instagram about anybody guess my pace, and then you had 3 or 4 people actually reference Strava and then put in the times there.
Correct. Yeah. I know for sure there's 15 people who, because they're liking every single workout, which for me is generally 3 or 4 a day, so they're going on and they're liking every single workout, and that's awesome. So probably for those people alone, I will continue to do it.
Wow. So as far as your struggles mentally and physically through February, how was this for you? Did you have any big struggles or mental challenges or dark places in your training?
Actually, none, which I would say is kind of surprising. And I think it's just, I'm so hot off the griddle of resting up. So I'm loving anytime a session starts to hurt or it's hard. I'm like, man, I haven't gotten to rev that engine really since October. So it's hard, but I'm not even fazed by it, because it gets hard and I go, how much more can I push this, and see what I'm able of. So, which is cool. And that's why I took such a long break.
Nice. So you're feeling completely rejuvenated, ready to really get back into all the fun stuff then.
Oh, completely. Absolutely.
Wow. So talk a little bit about your day-to-day nutrition. How has that been in February?
Yeah, day-to-day nutrition, man, that's really good. As always, I got to mention First Endurance here. So they've got some pills which keep me healthy year-round. One is it's like a multivitamin, and so it's got iron in it. It's got, to be honest, I don't know everything that's in it because it's got about 50 ingredients that I know that there's no banned substance in it. Let me get that clear. But other than that, I'm not exactly sure on every single ingredient. But I've taken that for 2 years, and in the 2 years I've taken it, I've gotten sick only once.
Wow.
So to me, that speaks pretty highly of the product. And they also have a product called Optigen, which supposedly helps reduce your cortisol and helps raise your VO2. I've taken that for a year. And that one's a little harder to say, like, because how do I separate that from my training? I've taken a pill, like my VO2 max has gotten higher, but I've also done a lot of training. So I believe the research that says it improves, and I take that. And then on my hard runs, if they're outside, a lot of times I've actually been doing no nutrition because it's been quite cool. But if I'm in the treadmill, I fill up a bottle with their electrolyte drink and pound that. And then after almost every hard session, they've got recovery, and I'm taking that in. And other than that, day-to-day nutrition, I've been eating a lot of carbohydrates, which I always do.
So donuts and bagels and muffins.
I haven't had a donut in January. There's a donut shop right by coming home from the pool, but it's on the opposite side of the street. And if it was on the same side of the street that you drive on, I'd be there like every day, because I'd pull and take a right turn, pull out. But it's like, instead you'd have to take 2 lefts, and it's like a busy street. So it'd be like an extra 5 minutes. So every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to stop. And then there's just lines and lines of traffic. And I go, never mind. So no donuts, mostly healthy carbs, but always feeding the system. And eggs. Eggs are my all-time favorite food. I probably eat an average of 20 eggs a week.
Wow. So what about 3 or 4 a day?
Correct. Yep.
Man. So how's your support been with the people around you, your girlfriend, family? What's this look like?
Yeah, the support's been as I talked about last time, the support system's come in, and now it's just such a solid foundation. So while right after we spoke, Amy flew out here and she spent her birthday here, and we went skiing, and she was here for she flew in the day after we spoke. And so she was here for 12 days.
Wow.
Yeah, we had just a terrific time and really, really a lot of fun. And because she's doing the marathon with me, so she's training pretty hard. So
with you as in alongside you, or with you as in towing the line at the same time?
Towing the line at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know if she was going to be pacing you through this or what that looked
right.
like.
I wish. That'd be awesome.
Man.
But so to be honest, she's actually been training longer and harder for this than I have. So she came out and she almost needed more support than me, because she was a little more worn down, but she's been doing great with it. And then it sort of got me more motivated, and same all around with my parents. They're kind of realizing I'm only here in Boulder for another 2 weeks, and then I'm going to be gone from Boulder for 6 months. So,
wow.
So they're like, okay, better get the most of it. And then, yeah, Kevin Purvis, my strength coach, we've been seeing each other twice a week. And so he's just getting everything dialed in and taking care of the strength side. And he'd let me know if something seems off just from seeing me in the day to day. And then my coach has just been writing me a totally rock solid training plan.
Wow. So this year, do you plan on taking a road trip with just beef jerky to go to Victoria again, or are you going to do something different?
It's different, yeah. It'd be cool to talk about those plans a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And I had beef jerky and plenty of trail mix.
Okay, and trail mix.
And muffins. So I'm racing Napa Marathon this weekend, and then I'm coming back to Boulder, and then on the 14th of March, I'm cruising down to St. George, where the Suunto team's hosting a camp for all of their athletes this year.
Oh, that's right. You got on the Suunto team.
Absolutely. It's been a great addition and some great support from Enve and Cervelo. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And we're having a 4-day camp there. So the team, I think, has 50 athletes. So 50 of us will be there. All the partners will be there. It won't be too training intensive, but get some training. And then I'm cruising down to Tucson right after that. So, which is perfect because it's right on the way. And then I'm going to be in Tucson for 2 months until May 1st. So I'll drive then over to Oceanside from there, which is only 7 hours, and then back up to St. George for 70.3 St. George, which is my season race, early season race. And then I'm back to Boulder for 8 days, and then I'm not driving up to BC this time. I'm actually going to race in Chattanooga on the way, but I'm flying, and then I fly right up to Canada, where I'll then be for 3 months.
Wow. So we can stay with her, cut down the cost a little bit, huh?
Yep, absolutely. And I guess when I was there in the summer, it was like we weren't technically going out yet, so you kind of got to bring your own car, right? But now that we're boyfriend, girlfriend, and things are going pretty well, like she'd leave me. Amy would hopefully let me use her car. But I got a funny story with that. You could just ask me, how do you know she'll let you use your car? Just ask me that.
So how do you know she'll let you use your car or her car?
Well, Terry, the thing is, I don't, because one of the first times, I've been up there for like the 5th day, and the first time ever, she hands me the keys and she just goes, go ahead and go get the car turned on, right? And we're actually at the beach, so I'm in my Speedo and she's in her bikini, and it's getting dark, okay? And I'm supposed to go turn on the car, and I go and somehow I come back, and being the idiot that I am, I go, oh, the keys are locked in the car. And she's like, what? Like, I gave you the keys for 2 minutes and they're locked in the car? Like, yeah, sorry. And it was 5 p.m. on a public holiday. So we're going, how are we going to get home? We're in our bikinis.
And the car's on.
The car actually wasn't on. Somehow I didn't manage to turn it on. But long story short, we managed to get a towing guy who came in and got it unlocked, and now she's invited me down, and I'm going to have access to her car again, surprisingly.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
So maybe she put a hide key on the car this time.
Maybe, yeah.
Man. So this coming month, you have a marathon. We'll touch base after the marathon, and that way we can get a full race recap on that. It'll be pretty easy. As far as your running goes, what run workouts have you done that gave you the confidence to go into this marathon prepared?
So the primary workout every week has been the long run. And I know a lot of times in triathlon training, the long run is more of just time on the feet. You usually do it on a Sunday after a hard ride on Saturday. And it's generally, let's say, between an hour and 45 and 2 hours and 30 minutes, I would say are 90 to 95% of triathletes training for an Ironman long run, and you might hit only 30 minutes at Ironman pace in that, which frankly, Ironman pace from a running perspective is relatively sluggish, right?
Right, it's slow.
And I'm not saying that those runs are very hard. Obviously, I've done a number of them because they come after an extremely hard bike ride, and you're usually very tired by Sunday. But the long run's taken a very different approach in general on these weeks. And one thing we've done is we've moved it to Saturday. So I have a recovery day on Friday, and then I have my hardest day of the week is on Saturday. I actually start the day with, it's a 5K swim, right around 5K, usually between 5,000 and 5,200. And then I go essentially right into this long run. And we've brought it up every week. And so my longest was 20 going in this month and going into the marathon, and a whole lot of pace work there. So that particular run was a 5-mile warm up, but the warm up wasn't like drag your feet. The warm up would have been Ironman pace. Okay. So
for you, that's what, 6:15?
Yeah, I ran 6:20s for that particular warm up, and then it went 4, 3, 2, 1 by miles. Each one being tempo, and each segment getting faster. So the 4 is the slowest, and the 1 is the fastest, and a mile off in between. But again, the mile off would be Ironman pace, right? So the 4 miles I averaged 5:45 for the 4 miles, then a mile at 6:20, then 3 miles that one was actually more about 5:30, then 5:35, 2 miles, 5:30, 1 mile again, 6:20, and then 1 mile, which was supposed to be fast. And it was relatively fast. I think I did 5:24 for that mile, and then a mile cool down. So all in all, you're getting 14 miles of pretty fast stuff going on in that run.
Gosh, so that took you probably what, 2 hours?
Yeah, it was 2 hours and 2 minutes for 20 miles.
Gosh, that is rolling, man.
Yeah, it's pretty serious, you know, and like exactly in an Ironman build, if someone gave you that run and you ran that fast, at least for me in the past, I mean, that would have nearly killed me. So this session was pretty good. And that was 2 weeks ago. And then this Saturday, so 8 days out from the race, I did a 16 miler, but it was over under. So a 4 mile warm up, and then 5 times through, a mile on, a mile off. Again, the mile off being quote unquote Ironman pace. So 6:20s. And for those mile ons, which I did 5 times, I did 5:20 to 5:30 for every one of them.
Wow. So over under. Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and here's the real kicker to the workout. Then, at the end of that, so you've done that 5 times, and then you end with a slow 6:20 mile. He wants 1 mile fast. And that mile I did in 5:05.
Jesus, my fastest mile ever is 5:12.
Yeah, so right, which is an impressive mile. And that gives you an idea of just how fast I'm going. And that's my 14th to 15th mile, and I'm not stopping the watch.
So you're pouring the cup all the way out. You're emptying the tank.
Oh, sort of. I mean, I actually went out for like a 90-minute spin later that day.
So how do you hold back and not eat everything in the kitchen when you get home?
Well, I do. We were just talking about that.
I mean, all the carbs, but I mean, for me, I have an inner fat kid that I try to keep at bay, and like I would order pizza, or I would stop and get 2 bowls of Chipotle after that or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have to have the willpower to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go home and eat some healthy rice, some salmon, and have some veggies.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, I'll tell you the best appetite quencher is 4 eggs, sauteed, well, not pan fried, and you mix it in with white rice or brown rice, whatever kind of rice you happen to favor. And I usually cut up some peppers, and then if I have kale, I prefer kale, but sometimes I just have spinach. So either kale or spinach, and then you throw a handful of cheese on the top, and you throw it in a bowl, and you have salsa with it. I mean, that's like probably 900 calories right there. So that usually makes you full enough.
Man. So how's your confidence for this season of Ironmans, and knowing that you can hit this 20-mile run now?
I have to say my confidence is getting pretty high, to be honest, which is a really good feeling. In the past, the situation's been, okay, I'm going to lose some time, potentially some pretty significant time on the on the swim. I'm going to come out with a deficit starting the bike, and then I'm a strong cyclist. That's my mentality. So I'll be able to make up that deficit on the bike and hopefully put more time on. And then it's hanging on the run. It's been sort of the previous past mentality. This year, I can already feel it shifting. So it's now more of an approach. Okay, yes, I may lose some time on the swim, but it's not going to be a crazy significant amount of time, except for maybe the absolute fastest swimmers in the sport are still putting on quite a number of, but generally those guys are still, the Jan Frodenos and the Patrick Longas, they're still at the Ben Hoffmans, they're still another level than me that, frankly, I'm also not catching them on the bike or the run. I just never see them the whole day. But it's now, okay, you'll put a little bit of time on me, but I'm going to then catch you on the bike, potentially put some time on you on the bike. And if I don't, I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to catch you on the run as well. Or if I'm ahead, I'm getting confident that I'll be able to hold that off and potentially put extra time in. So it's cool to see that confidence shifting. And again, that's my mindset. That may not be reality. Hopefully it is.
Wow. Well, man, it's been great. I look forward to chatting with you pretty soon about your marathon. The only other question I have for you is, what's the word of the month, man?
I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. Marathon.
Just marathon.
Yeah, last time I used 3 words, and I know you didn't quite. I wasn't quite allowed. So.
Oh, that's fine with me. So what is your goal for this marathon? Do you have a time goal, or do you have a pace goal? Do you have a strategy that you want to hit with this? What is that like?
I gotta talk. I'm talking with my coach more on Thursday about that. So we spoke at the beginning of the month, and we set a time goal of 2:36, right around 2:36 or slightly faster. However, every single one of the key runs, I was able to sort of go a little bit faster than we thought I would. So I think it's going to be faster than that. And the big debate rests on sort of, do I want to risk it to get the biscuit, or do I want to play it safe? I think I'm in a position where I could potentially win the overall at this race. It's right around the 2:30 usually, which is going to be at the fast end of what I can do. But I think it'd be cool. Personally, I'm thinking it's going to be really cool to just kind of go all for it and see what I'm able to. And if I blow up, I just need to run under a sub-3 for me in order to go to Boston. So that would still give me 25 minutes of blowing up to get in.
Now, would you be classified as an elite?
No elites at this race.
No, so. I'm talking about at Boston.
No, I would not be racing in the elite field. No.
Why not? You're a professional triathlete.
Yeah, I can't. I at least I don't think I'd be racing as an elite. I mean, they'd be so far ahead of me after 1 mile. It'd be
because they're sitting there holding fives the whole time.
They could put me in the elite Clydesdale category compared to elite runners. I mean, weighing 180 pounds is like the Clydesdale category for an elite runner, right?
Man, that's pretty awesome. Well, good luck this coming weekend at the marathon, and I'll have this episode out pretty soon, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Hey, have a good one, okay?
Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Follow Along series. Don't forget to check back next month to follow this athlete's progress. Please leave a review over on iTunes and check out my websites to see pictures from this athlete.